Welcome to Dirksón Photography. My name is Dirksón, and today we are going to take another look behind the scenes. Here we did some street photography in Hamburg. It was, let's take a look, on the 9th of June 2016, so 3 or 4 days ago. All pictures I took on the streets with real people who I just met there, who I just talked to. And all these pictures I took on that day. So when we think about how I do it, I take pictures during the day, which means it can also be that the sun is up and we will get very different light conditions. So here, for example, we are standing rather more in shadows, and you have some light here on her cheeks and a little bit here on her forehead, but actually it's very soft light. You know, this side of the street was in shadow and the other side of the street was in sunlight. So when we take a look here, you see this is the same side of the road. All this part was in shadow and all on the other side was in sunlight, which is much more difficult to take pictures. So as always, I love to focus on the face. I use the 50mm f1.8 STM camera lens. It's one of the cheapest full-frame camera lenses ever made, about 100-120 euros. You can't get very lower in price for a prime lens unless you choose the Yongnuo 51.8 version. And it's one of the cheapest lenses ever made for a full-frame camera, and it has very beautiful image quality. Now these pictures I shot in medium raw size, which means it's only 11 megapixel, but that's totally enough for what I do. I don't need 20 megapixel for these pictures because normally these pictures are not printed, and 11 megapixel is totally enough. I could even go for 5 megapixel, that would also be enough, which is the S mode. So I shot with the Canon 6D. For example, what I always like to do is to lean against something. This is not so perfect. I rather like to lean against the wall, for example here. Then I shoot from the side, so we have a little bit of an open background. And then I shoot from the front, and the sun is coming directly from the front. You see it in her eyes, the sun is coming from above, and you also see it on her face, how the light falls. So it's very nice to take a picture here, very evenly lit, beautiful eyes. And then I take some pictures from the other side. Okay, let me just skip through. I also have always some accessories like sunglasses. It's always nice. I bought these sunglasses in Greece for 5 euros in a shop. So let me just skip through. You know, these are normal people on the streets. She was standing in the bus station, so I talked to her on the bus station and we took some pictures. I will just skip through. Again with the sunglasses, looks very nice. Yeah, I can show you some difficult light situations which we can master. Now we're on the other side of the road, and here we have more sunlight. And I have here a picture that I actually deleted, but I just wanted to show you, so I kept it here in my program. You see, here is a shadow from her head, from her hair, and so you know where the sun is coming from. When you put a line from this point to this point, you see where the sun is. The sun is about somewhere here. It's let's take a look at the time. It's 12:30 during day in summer, beginning of June, so the sun is up. The sun is coming down. I know he is taller than her. So I thought when we put her against the wall, he's standing in front of her, he will actually block the sun and his face and her face will be in shadow, so I can expose for their faces and the faces will look fine. Let's take a look. Maybe when we take a look at this picture, you see now he's in front of her. Now I really want you to see it. Now this is very bright. It's too bright. It doesn't look nice. And his face is fine, but that is too bright. And I can get a beautiful lit image when I put them closer together. So his face is blocking the sun touching hers, like this. You see again, here is the shadow. The sun is very high. It's a very hard angle. But he is tall enough, so I have their faces beautifully lit. And this is on a street, on a normal day, anywhere, with any light. It doesn't really matter which light there is. You just have to know how to work with it. And when you know how to work with it, you can take great pictures anywhere. And as always, to me, the most important thing is the emotion. Here again, the sun is behind him. It's coming from above. He is in shadow. And here it's a very nice dynamic range in this image. Let's just skip through. Here we have some sunlight, very harsh, very hard, but it actually fits the scene because he is a very tough guy with the beard, and the harsh sunlight fits just his character. What we can also do, we can take a look and try to find some shadows right here under the tree, and we get an evenly lit image and beautiful expressions when we know how to handle emotions. I have another image for you which is not so perfect. So the sun is up very high. She is looking at me a little bit higher, but still I don't like these shadows here. So I ask her to put her head a little bit high because the light would be nicer, and then it looks like this. And normally I know people who wouldn't take pictures in that scene because the sun is high, very hard to work with. But when you know how to work with it, when you mastered it, then you can take great pictures anywhere, of anybody. It doesn't really matter who it is. These are all normal people. She was just having a break from her work, and she was just sitting there, and all these pictures don't take long. So when we take a look at this image, and let's take a look at the timing. We're here at 12:57. Now let's go, for example, let's go to this image. We were at 57. Now where are we now? No, we are at 58. So it's 1.5 minutes for all these pictures in between. 1.5 minutes. So it's never about time, and it's not about if the sun is high or not. It doesn't really matter. What matters is how you use the light you have for you. And even the background doesn't matter. And all you need is, I love to shoot with prime lenses. This is the 50mm lens, 1.8 is my favorite lens. It's the cheapest lens, but it's also my favorite. And I have much more expensive lenses that I would rather give away than this one. This is my most favorite lens. It's the cheapest lens, one of the cheapest lenses ever made, and yet it's my favorite. And so you don't really need expensive stuff. You just have to take a look at where the light is and how to work with it. Now another example is this. Now here we have her in the shadows, but her nose is very bright, so the sun is here. When she puts her head a little bit down, we have all her face in the shadows, which looks much more even. Okay, here as well, she is turning away from the sun, so her face is in shadows, and it looks very nice. It all depends on what you make of it. There is no bad weather. And you don't need a location, as I always like to say. You don't need a location and you don't need weather. Because when you shoot people, you don't shoot locations, you shoot emotions. What you need is emotion. And you only learn emotion by learning people. You have to fall in love with people, and then you get love back. And you see it normally in the facial expression. You see how somebody looks at you if you succeeded at photography or not. If you could convince them of yourself as a person, not as a photographer. It's never about the photography, it's about the personality. So if you can show somebody yourself, your true you, and convince them of that it's very true at what you do, the photography is just a byproduct of a great picture. For example, you could argue that here you have some shadow under her nose, or maybe the horizon isn't perfectly straight. You could talk about that, but her expression is so powerful. Her expression overpowers everything else in this image. Now I have another example, very interesting, let me call it a study. So here she looks at me, very bad shadows on her eyes, the sun is up, she's looking straight at me, but a beautiful expression. Now when she puts her head higher, we have a rather better shadow, not so bad shadows in her face, but she's losing the expression. So I always focus on the emotion. I need to give the person that is in front of me, I need to give that person a great emotion. When I have that, I can push the button, and it doesn't matter what camera I have or what lens. It doesn't really matter. You could take these pictures with any camera, with any lens, and it would look nice, because she is having fun. Now here we have a street musician. You should always help others who try to make something out of nothing. And he played really nice music, and you also see it here. It's a Gibson guitar, which means this is a serious player. It's not somebody who's just playing. That guy is serious. You wouldn't have a Gibson guitar on the street if you're not really into it. Okay, so let's just skip through it. She was just sitting here waiting for somebody. Again, I had my sunglasses, which always work very nice. Here again, we bought these in Greece for €5. Doesn't really matter how much anything costs. It's always the effect, and the effect in photography, you don't need much money. What you need is ideas, and you have to dare. Success is always there where you can fail. So you have to go to the places where you can fail. For example, talking to people on the streets, you have to fail so often that it's very easy. And when you do that, you can do it anywhere, in any country in the world. You don't even need to speak the language. You can just talk body language. And to me, it did work. And in France, it did work. And I don't speak French. So again, I'm going really low here. You see the angle from where I'm shooting, which makes her very heroic. She's looking a little bit up, so we have a nice chin here, shadows under her chin, beautiful lit face, great expression. Yeah, I just wanted to show you these pictures. Also another beautiful couple. All pictures are actually edited in under 20 seconds with the 20-second workflow, which you will soon find on our website, dirksonphotography.com. With this workflow, you will learn in one day how you can edit your pictures in this style. So from the colors and everything about it, the editing, it will look like this. And it doesn't really matter if you start today photography or if you started 10 years ago. All these pictures are edited in 20 seconds, and you will learn in one day how you can do that too. Okay, let me just skip through it. Here again, it's all about emotion. Here in the background, you see some really annoying stuff, but when the emotion in the image is strong, it overlays everything. And it's always about where you focus on in an image. And when you have emotion in an image, we always automatically connect to that. We always connect to an emotion. And emotions are found in the face. So when you have a beautiful expression in the face, that is where the beautiful image is created. Emotions. When you take pictures of people, it's always about emotions. This was also very short shooting. We filmed every shooting, so all these images you will see some videos on our channel. This shooting was 1 minute 23 seconds long. So all these pictures were taken in 1 minute 23 seconds. Here. Okay. There was also a Rolls-Royce shop here in Hamburg. I took just some pictures from the outside. Very motivating. Here I met them again and just took some more pictures. They really enjoyed it. It's very, very lovely images. So I was going back to the bus, going home, met these two people, took also some pictures. And it doesn't really matter where you take pictures, and it doesn't really matter what the weather is. What matters is the emotion that you can get out of the people. So the people have to feel well. The people have to have fun. The people have to really enjoy the moment. And that is where photography becomes magic. When it's not about the image, but the emotion. And when you have the emotion, everything else in the frame is washed away. And only the emotion is in the center. And that's when an image works. And now we're at the end of it. So I just wanted to give you an expression. You will find all these videos soon on our YouTube channel. So bye bye.